So I've come out this morning onto the Stornoway Angling Association in River Creed for a quick cast. The water height is fishable, but maybe not ideal, but even so, I'm just going to have a quick rattle down here. This is the sort of top of the dam pool, and we'll work our way up and see how far up we get today. But first of all, we'll have a rattle down here. So this is what the Angling Association refer to as beat 2, which means basically it's above the main Stornoway to Harris Road. In actual fact, with the ticket you can fish any of the beats. I mean, it's not like you're restricted. I think it's almost like a historical term rather than anything to do with the way the river's currently managed. But there's quite a lot of fishing up here, right up to the first loch in the system. I'll probably not go up that far. Apart from anything else, there's just not quite enough water to make it worth fishing above the junction pool probably today. But I don't intend to spend long here, just a quick throw the flies through here in a few likely spots, and then we'll move on to the next pool because we're not short of fishing. One thing to watch out for in the dam pool here is obviously because we're so close to the road, the electricity or power lines cross over our heads here, so it's worth just being a wee bit careful because they put awfully high voltages on wooden poles in the Hebrides, so it's worth being aware of that. Well, we're going to make our way up to the peat stack pool now, and it's going to be a wee bit tricky for casting because I want to start and fish the wee bit at the top of it. Might not be able to get the flies where I want them, but sure, we'll see. Just up the path here to the falls pool. A fantastic pool, but more suited to the worm, I think, than the fly. So that's us onto the bothy pool, and I think we'll go up to the top there and have a quick cast from there down. Right, we'll keep going down to the tail. I find the tail of this pool quite tricky to fish, but there are, well, sometimes there's a fish just in here, so it's always worth a cast. It doesn't look like much, but there's rocks in on the far side. It's the weirdest sort of place to fish. but there's actually quite a considerable current in there, although it doesn't look like there should be. So after the bothy pool, there's no well-made track and the walking becomes a wee bit rougher. But I'm heading up now for the round pool. So I'm down on my hands and knees here, and I'm letting the fly come right in to this bank, like underneath me here, because although it seems obvious that the fish would be somewhere over there, they're usually somewhere in here in this pool. Weird pool. So very fittingly, this pool has been newly named after Anton, who was a keen angler and who knew every single running hole on this river. And I'm going to give it a wee fish down now and see if I can't get a fish out of it for him. So now we find ourselves on the rock pool, and it's kind of long, sort of canal-y sort of pool, I don't know, but there are some features in it as well. Plus there's a good stretch of water above it that I don't think really has a name, but is also extremely good and holds a good few fish. It's a kind of weird pool, and it's a very difficult pool to land a fish in because of these quite high banks. But it can also produce a fish, and that's the main thing. So I've come up here just above the rock pool. I always like this wee bit of water, and there always seems to be a fish or two in it, but the only problem with it is it ain't an easy spot to get a fish landed should you hook one. It can provide you with more entertainment than you need. So this is the junction pool on the River Creed, and it's a very famous pool and it produces a lot of fish, but I've got to say, for some strange reason I can't explain, it's my least favourite pool in the river. But nonetheless, it's interesting to come up here now and again, take a wee look. So this is the top of the long pool. I've just had a few wee casts there, not moved anything, but nonetheless, it's a lovely pool. do us for another day. Just finish here at the top of the bothy again. But haven't seen anything all day. Haven't seen a single fish even. Very unusual.